Hello everybody. So today we'll start a new topic, and the topic is about transformers. Okay, and topics which we would be covering in this is we'll be talking about types of transformers, and then construction of transformer, the basic construction of a transformer, then working principle of transformer, and then equivalent circuit diagram of transformer. First, we will take up the case of ideal, and then we'll modify it as per the practical or the real transformer is, and then we will talk about test to find the parameters of the real transformer, and then we will talk about efficiency and voltage regulation of a transformer. So these topics we will be covering in this unit. So after completing this topic, you should be able to explain the working principle of a transformer, and then you should be able to explain the importance of applied voltage and its frequency, and you should be able to explain the different parameters in the equivalent circuit diagram of the transformer, and you should be able to perform proper test to find the different parameters of the transformer, like open circuit test and short circuit test, and then you should be able to draw the various phasor diagrams related to it. You should be able to explain the voltage regulation and its importance, and you should be able to calculate the efficiency and voltage regulation of the transformer. Okay, so what is a transformer? So a transformer is a device in which we have two or more electrical circuits which are coupled with each other through common magnetic field, and you can also say that it's a device where electrical power in one circuit is transferred to the other electrical circuit at different voltage levels. Okay, so this is basically used to either step up the voltage or step down the voltage, and it has a lot of applications. So the very first and foremost application is in the power system. The electrical energy which we get today is from a various thermal power plants, as we have discussed in the beginning of the discourse. So where power generated at various power plants, it is generated at a particular voltage, and the highest possible voltage which is available is around 25 kV or at most 33 kV. Then what we do is we use a transformer there to step up the voltage to a level of, let's say, 220 kV or 440 kV, or even as high as 765 kilovolts, 765 kV, and then we transmit that power from that generating source to different cities. Okay, so in the outskirts of the cities we have a step down transformer. There we step down that voltage, that high voltage electrical power at that high voltage, to a lower voltage of around 33 kV, and then what we do is, even from that main substation of a city, we distribute the electrical power from these substation to different localities. Okay, and in the localities we have the distribution transformer there, where this voltage is even brought down to a lower value which is generally used by us. Okay, so that voltage is around 440 volt at the secondary side of it. Okay, so it has a lot of applications, this transformer. So in the power system, today's era, it cannot survive without having a transformer. Okay, so the transformer which is there available at the generating station, we say it as a unit transformer, and the transformers which are available at the substation outskirts of a city, we say it as a substation transformer. They all fall in the category of power transformers, and then within the localities we have distribution transformers. Okay, and then we have other transformers which are used in the power system domain as well. They are the potential transformers. They are just a measuring transformer where it is used to measure or sense the voltage, and it is needed to continuously monitor the voltage in the power system at different localities, right? Let's say 765 volt, and I need to monitor that voltage. So obviously, with a normal voltmeter or normal multimeter, we cannot measure that one. So we have this potential transformers, which is just used for the purpose of measuring. So they are the instrument transformers. Similarly, we have the current transformers. So you can imagine if the power sending from the, let's say from the generating station to different locality, different cities, it would be in megawatt or in MVA. Okay, and so you can think of it would be the current there would be in terms of kilo amperes. So in that case, or hundreds of kilo ampere. So in that case, we use current transformers to monitor what is the current passing through. So we install it at a key points to actually sense the voltage and currents there. Okay. Then you have the transformers in the communication system as well, where we use one of the application is so matching of the impedance for the maximum power transfer, and we use it in generally telephone lines and in control circuits, and even in radios and earlier CRT based televisions. There we used to have these transformers as well. Okay, the other applications you can think of in your household. So in the household, you can see the voltage stabilizers. Various voltage stabilizers. Earlier in even in small towns or villages, people used to keep voltage stabilizer for for even for televisions, or even for for to maintain the voltage in their houses as well. So in that stabilizers, we have transformers there. Let's say voltage stabilizers for the air conditioners generally, which is there. If a lot of fluctuations in the voltage, we prefer to have these voltage stabilizers there. Okay, sometimes the voltage goes down, let's say 150 volt, the requirement is 220 volt. So there we need some kind of voltage boosting, right? So that is available with that feature is there in the stabilizer. So we use these voltage stabilizers for air conditioners and refrigerators. Inside it we have the transformers. Okay, even in inverters or UPS we have the transformers there. Okay, so this transformer, let's say I have said that it has uh, two electrical circuits which are magnetically coupled with each other. So sometimes this is used for for the electrical isolations as well in various circuits if there is requirement of isolation. So we use these transformers for isolation of the electrical circuits as well. Okay, let's say for some application you can think of where the voltage available is 220 volt, but you want a voltage of 15 volt in your household. Okay, so there we use a transformers. Even in your mobile chargers or the the laptop adapters, there you have a step down voltage transformer there, and then it is converted into DC, and then it is fed to the to the respective instruments. So in all these instruments you have the transformers. So there are various range of transformers. Okay, so that's why we need to study about it. And for the electrical engineers, even if the machines which they would be they would be learning about it, the electromechanical conversion machines like induction machines, or so all these are DC machines. So somehow the concept which would be developed for the transformer would be needed there as well. Okay, so that's the importance of a transformer. So that's why we need to study about it. Across the engineering stream, everybody should actually know about the working principle of a transformer. Okay, so these are the various images which I have captured from the Google. So you can see the very first one. It is this, you must have seen this very transformer, the first transformer, the first image. You must have seen it in your localities as well. It's a kind of a distribution transformer I'm showing. So the construction, the main transformer is inside it, which will look like somewhat which is shown in this second figure. Okay, so basically it's a three-phase transformer. So you have a three limbs, and once I will discuss the construction of a transformer, there I will show it. So you can see that it's the magnetic core here, and you have different electrical windings wound over the uh, on these limbs, and these are the bushings which are used, for the connection purposes, and there are the different or other components of it, like these are the fins or cooling tubes which are used because this entire core is actually dipped into oil, transformer oils or insulating oils, and that oil is actually used. It has two purposes. One is for the cooling, and another purpose is for the insulations with different components as well. Okay, so in this main tank you have the transformer oil, and in that oil we generally dip this core and this entire winding there. Okay, so in this main tank we have the transformers. These fins are used for the cooling of the transformers, and the one which is shown here, this is the conservator tank. Okay, so here sometimes oil expand, and in summers the volume expands, right? So it is actually that transformer oil is pushed there, in this extra transformer oil is pushed into these conservator tanks. Okay, and this is the breather. Sometimes some gases are formed, so these breathers actually helps in breathing out the unwanted gases which is produced in the main tank of the transformer. Okay, in this figure you can see, like, you must have come across various kind of transformers. Okay, so various sizes of the transformers are available. Even in this figures, like various sizes of it. This is a toroidal shaped transformer, but generally the transformers in the stabilizer, sometimes uh, in these days in this AC, the stabilizer for the air conditioners and refrigerators, you may find this kind of toroidal shape, transformers. And this kind of transformer is also, this toroidal shape is also available in the for the auto transformers as well. So for this topic, the books which you can follow is Electrical Machinery Fundamentals by Stephen J. Chapman, or Basic Electrical Engineering by D.P. Kothari and I.J. Nagaraj. Okay, and there are NPTEL lectures as well which you can follow there as well. So today we will discuss about uh, the importance and application of the transformer, which we have already discussed. Okay, and now we will discuss about the construction of a transformer. So the construction of a transformer is basically of two types: core type or the shell type. And then we will talk about the working principle, and to explain the working of a transformer, we will first take up the case of an ideal transformer, and then gradually we will convert this ideal transformer into a practical transformer, and the concepts will build over it. Okay, so this very first figure which I am shown here is for a core type transformer. So this is a core type transformer, single phase core type transformer I am showing here. So this is the one which I have shown it here is winding, and this is a low voltage winding, and it is wound in a circular manner. Okay, it is wound in a circular manner. So low voltage winding, and it is wound in a circular manner. So you can think of, let's say, current is coming out of it and it is going here, then again coming out from here and going into here, again coming out from here and again going into here. Okay, coming out of here and going into here. So this is how we wind it. Okay, so current is coming out of it and then again going back into it, coming out of it, going back into it, in this way. And this is wound this entire area. So this is a low voltage winding, and there's a purpose of it. And let's say this further, this is again connected this one. So this is connected here to the other winding. So the half of the low voltage winding is here and half of the low voltage winding is here. It's a dot, cross, dot, cross, cross. And this is the entire winding. Okay. And then you would be having two terminals of it. That's the finishing end of it. Okay, so you started here and you finish it here. So this is a low voltage winding. Over it we have the high voltage winding. So again, let's say dot here and then cross here. Dot here, cross here, dot here, cross here, and this is in the entire winding. So this is high voltage winding, HV winding. Okay, LV stands for low voltage and HV stands for high voltage. So winding is wound over the core or over the limbs. Okay, so you have the low voltage winding and then over it you have the high voltage winding, and purposely it has been done. In this way, if you do it, the chances of flux leakage is minimal. Whatever the flux which leaks out from the primary winding, it will actually links with the secondary winding as well, or whatever the flux which leaks out from the low voltage winding will link with the high voltage winding here. Okay, so we are actually reducing the flux leakage. I'm not saying all the flux leakage would be eliminated, no, but some of the flux which actually leaks out the, let's say this winding, the winding which has been shown with the orange color, will leak out and it will link with the red one. Okay, so in the core type transformer, the winding the winding is wound over the limbs. So this is the core, ferromagnetic core. So on the limbs of the ferromagnetic core, we have the low voltage, because I have said that transformer is a device which is used either to step up the voltage or step down the voltage, transfers the power, okay, from one circuit to the other, either stepping up the voltage or by stepping down the voltage. Okay, so that's why we need two kind of winding. So we said it's a low voltage winding. Let's say for an example, for the distribution transformer, you have either 11 kV by 440 volt. Okay, so the low voltage means this low voltage would be 440 volt and this high voltage winding would be 11 kV. So if we do it, actually we are able to save some insulations there. Let's say what about 765 kV and 33 kV transformer. So between this core and the winding, we have the insulations here. So these are the insulations. These are the insulations here. And this insulation actually depends upon at what voltage level I am using it. Okay, the amount of insulation depends upon what voltage level I am using it. So we purposely keep the low voltage near to the core, near to the core, because here the potential difference would be minimal. Okay, I will put the insulation as per the requirement of 440 volt, and here the difference would be around, let's say 11 kV case, it will be around 10.5 kilovolt. So here the insulation required, okay, so we have different insulations here. The one which is shown here, okay, here, this is insulation is required to provide the insulation between the core and the low voltage winding. So if assuming that core is at a zero potential, then the insulation required here would be for 440 volt. So volume requirement of that insulation would be different as compared to the insulation required for between this high voltage winding and low voltage winding. Here the potential difference is around 10.5 kilovolt. So I would be needing different kind of insulations. Just imagine if I would have kept high voltage winding near to the core and low voltage winding away from the core, then in that case I would have required twice of that insulation material, almost twice of that insulating material, because then the potential difference between the core and the high voltage is around 11 kilovolt. Okay, and then high voltage and the low voltage, if I would have kept a high voltage winding first and then over it then I would have kept the low voltage winding, then the potential difference between high voltage and low voltage winding insulation required would be for around 10.5 kilovolt. Okay, so by having this kind of arrangement we are actually able to save the insulation as well. And insulation cost a lot in electrical engineering. That's why we prefer this kind of arrangement. Low voltage core, then low voltage winding and high voltage winding. So one advantage is we are able to save money, which is very important, economical. And another advantage is the flux which actually leaks out from the low voltage winding, it links with the high voltage winding as well. Okay, so this is the economical one, economical arrangement. LV near to the core or low voltage winding near to the core has the economical arrangement. And second, this kind of core arrangement actually helps in, you know, we could have like low voltage winding here and high voltage winding on the other end as well, right? Then the flux leakage would be higher in that case. So in that case we are able to reduce the flux leakage. Okay, so this is a core type transformer and this is for a single phase transformer. Then we will discuss about the shell type transformer. So this is this arrangement. So in the core type transformer we have windings on the limbs, okay, on the outer limbs. In the core type transformer the windings, we have windings wound over the outer limbs. Okay, in shell type transformer we have winding wound over the central limb. So for transformer generally I would be writing T/F. Okay, so in shell type transformer what we do is, like in core type transformer we wound the winding on the outer limbs, but in shell type of transformer we do the windings on the central limb of it. Okay, so this is the central limb. On the central limb we wound it, we do the winding there. So the first we would be placing the low voltage side or low voltage winding near to the cores and high voltage winding between the cores. So this is also a way, let's say if you see the windings, so let's say if it is coming out of it, it will go here cross, then again coming out of it and it will go inside it and so on. So this is for low voltage winding, LV winding, and this red one is the high voltage winding. So if you see the flux path would actually be like this, and similarly here. It will depend how we have done the winding. So the flux path, if it is phi here in the central limb, the outer limb will have phi by 2 and here also phi by 2. So this is the shell type of transformer. Generally for a low rating of transformer, we generally do this shell type of transformer, shell type of core we use. Okay, but for power transformers or three-phase transformers, power transformers, we generally prefer core type transformers. So this is core type for three-phase transformer. So this is core type. So again we have the low voltage winding here, LV here, LV here, and this is, and the top of it we have the high voltage winding, HV here. Okay, so let's say this is for phase A, these windings is for phase A, so these windings is for phase B, and these windings for phase C. Okay, so I said that in transformers we have two windings, two electrical circuits, at least two electrical circuits. So here you can see that we have around 6 electrical circuits. Okay, so low voltage winding, or I would say, let's say, primary winding or secondary winding. Similarly, high voltage winding, it may be primary or the secondary. So generally we prefer this kind of construction for power transformers. The reason is, if some fault occurs in any of the phases, it is easy to identify as well as easy to replace them. Second thing is, the cooling is better in this kind of construction. So okay, so we prefer this kind of construction for three-phase power transformers. Now we will discuss about the working principle of a transformer.